All right, let's go ahead and get started. So right now, our polls app, we can just see the individual question by doing polls/1, polls/2. But now we actually want to be able to vote and see what our favorite color is. So in our detail, detail.html, I'm going to add a form, and we'll walk through this form together. So in here, it says, hey, again, it's just displaying the question. It says, hey, if there's an error, so if at some point I'm unable to find that question, then, then like display this error message. Else, I'm going to create a form, and I'm creating a named route. This is what this is called. This is literally just going to polls ID/vote. And then I'm going to make a post method, and it's going to say, like, here are the inputs and here are the choices for each input. So let's actually refresh this and see what it looks like. So in here, I'm creating a form that has an action. Essentially, it's like, what do you want to happen after I click, like post, click a button right here. Once I click that, what do you want to actually happen? And we have this little CSRF token. This is for security reasons. This has to be included in all of Django templates. And it says, hey, for choice in all the choices associated with that object, loop through, create an input, which is a type radial, name choice. The ID is a choice for loop counter. So this is like counts up. This is a built-in method, this for loop.counter, that the ID is like choice 1, choice 2, choice 3. The value is the choice 1, choice 2, choice 3, or this is essentially literally just the choice ID. And we have a label for choice for loop counter, and it just displays the choice text for the label. And at the very end, we have an input, which is a type submit of vote and vote. So when I click that, it says you're voting on question 1. So when I click that, it makes a post request. You can see down here, post, and it's pushing me to polls/1/vote, polls/1/vote, and it's coming into the views and pushing me to the results right here. But we actually want to be creating, we actually want to like actually vote. All right, wait, where is it pushing me? So detail, so it's actually pushing me here to the vote. You're voting on question right here, not the results. So in here, I actually want to change the value of the votes right here. So if I click on, if I go back to here, and if I click on yellow and click vote, I want it to go into this vote, grab that question ID, and then find that choice and increase the vote by 1. Does anybody have any questions of what I want to do when I click vote? All right, so inside my vote, I need to grab that question. It's actually, so I can say question equals question.objects.get ID equals question _ ID. And I can print the question just to make sure it works. So if I come back here, if I go back, click refresh, click yellow or green or blue, click vote. It says you're voting on question 1. It comes down here, and here's my question 1. But I notice I'm reusing this question.objects.getID up here, and also using this question.object.get right here. So what happens if you're reusing the same code a lot? I'm going to create a helper method called getQuestion. So def getQuestion takes in a question ID and returns question.objects.get ID equals question ID. Like so. And so instead of using question.objects.get, I can just use this get question helper method. Just want to see if this still works. Vote 1. Uh-oh. Oh. Question.objects question ID. So I'm still getting an error. Get question, got an unexpected keyword argument. Oh, right there. And also here. Refresh that. Green, click vote. You're voting on question 1. Everything's still working. So now I get the question. Now I actually want to increase or grab the choice of that. So I can say, hey, try. Let's actually print the request first, because we're passing in this request, but we don't necessarily know what we're doing with that. So if I go back and refresh and click yellow, click that, I see I've got this post request that pushes me to here. And let's actually try to grab that post request. So I can do dot post. I'm just going to print that now. So each request has a get request, post request, etc. And for this detail form, the type of method is a post request. So I'm just going to go back and refresh. You're voting on question 1. Everything's still working. But notice how now I get a query dict in this post request. I've got the CSRF token. This is always going to be here because I've got this CSRF token. And I also have a choice right here. It's what I actually chose. And that's where that value comes in, the choice ID. So if I'm able to extract the ID from the request in this view right here, so post, and now can I grab the choice from here? Choice. If I go back, refresh, if I want to pick yellow, click that. So I voted on yellow, I get the yellow's ID. If I go back, refresh, click blue, come over here, I get the blue ID. Cool. What questions do you have about extracting data from the request?
Hey, Tom, all these methods, this detail, results, and vote, do we have to add them all in the urls.py as well? Or are they already in there?
The URLs dot right here. So
yes.
we already added them.
Okay. So all these URLs can handle all kinds of requests like post, view, and all that. We don't need to specify the method we're using.
So as far as in the request, or Like right here? Like,
yeah, before, okay.
yeah. So inside that request, it's being passed in. We can, depending on the type of request, we can either be a get request, post request, put request. I'm in this form, I'm explicitly saying, hey, this is a post request.
Okay, awesome.
So I'm able to append stuff to that post request. So if I'm able to extract the choice ID, now I can actually grab that choice ID from the database through this question. So I'm going to do a try except, try selected choice equals question dot choices dot get primary key equals that request dot post dot choice, or grabbing the choice right there. So now it says, hey, invalid syntax, HTTP. It's throwing an error because question ID doesn't exist. So let's do except. So if it looks for a question and it doesn't find anything, it can throw a key error. This is all just, so if it is unable to find a question, it's going to throw a key error. Or if it's unable to, if you don't choose something and you're unable to, doesn't find a selected choice, it'll throw this except. Choice dot does not exist. So yeah, so if you don't select anything, it's going to throw this key error here. So I need to import choice. Choice is this does not exist is a built-in method, and I can return render the request. So this is just in polls. This is only if there is a error in my submission. And remember, if there's an error in my submission, I want to display this error message. So I need to create some data, error message, you didn't select a choice, period. And I also want to pass in this question because I still need the question up here. Question, question. So now I can also pass in that data back into the polls.detail page. So if I refresh this, it might not work. If I just click vote, it says, hey, you didn't select a choice. Because it's, again, rendering this part. It's just passing in this data again. But if I do get a selected choice, instead of returning this, I can say else selected choice. I'm going to actually print the selected choice. See if this is working. So if I refresh this, no. So green, I'm going to get an error because I'm not returning an HTTP response, but I get the selected choice right here. So I selected green, cool. So now I can actually take the selected choice and increase the votes by 1. Dot votes plus equals 1. And I can select a choice dot save. Then I can return. I want to after I vote on something, I want to see the results. So I'm going to import another HTTP response redirect, which will redirect me to a different HTTP response redirect. And I'm also going to import from Django.urls import reverse, which is literally just going to push me back to the previous, or polls/results, which is going to like redirect me to a specific URL, which is the results, and passing in some arguments, which is the question ID. So I want to go to the results of the question ID of the question. So this vote, I'm grabbing the question object, grabbing the specific choice by the choice ID from the post request. I'm increasing the votes by 1. I'm saving it to the database. And then I'm executing this return HTTP response redirect wherever this results named route is. And I'm passing in this question ID because I want to see the results of this specific question. So if I refresh, or let's go back here, green right there. Oh, it says result not found. Result is not a valid view function pattern name. Where does it say that? Result not found. Result is not a valid view function. So let's look at this result question. Results. So it looks like named results. Just looking if there's any errors. Reverse for result not found. So you can see I'm going to results, view results. Where's that URL? Right here, you're looking at the results for question 1, but let's see.
Because you put result and not results.
Where's that? Yes. Yep. So let's go back. Vote on, results, no arguments found, 1 pattern, tried polls, question ID, results. So where's that error? Results, question ID. Dot vote. Question. Should I? Hold on a second. Reverse, resave. I may have. See if this works. And there, reverse, okay, hold on. Refresh. Okay, yeah, I just didn't have the proper enclosure on that. So it says you're looking at the results of question 1, but I'm not actually seeing any of the results because I'm up here. So polls/1/results, polls results, passing in the arguments here. It's redirecting me to the results. Question ID I'm being passed in, and it's displaying that. But now I actually want to, instead of index in detail, I actually want to create another template called the results.html. And there, grabs the question text, and it looks through all the choices, and it grabs the choice text and the number of votes for that question. And then I've also got a vote again that redirects me to the polls/detail page. So if I refresh that, still nothing's happens because I actually have to return in the results page. I need to grab the question by doing question dot get question by question ID, and then return render the request, the polls/results.html, and pass in the question object as a dictionary. Now, if I refresh that, it says question not defined. There we go. If I can vote again, I can vote blue. Votes going up, green is going up, etc. What questions do you have so far? So again, when I go to, just quickly review, when I go to polls, I get a list of all the questions. So if there's more questions here, I click on that link, it takes me to the questions detail page, which has a form. And when I click on like green and click vote, goes into the detail page in this form. When I click vote, it submits this form, and it executes this vote method and passing in that question ID as a post. So it comes into this vote method, passes in that question ID, grabs that question. It tries to find the choice that I selected by doing questions.choices.get, where the primary key could also be ID, but the primary key equals, and I'm extracting the choice ID from this post request, which is always passed in to the method, the view method. If it's unable to find a choice, it throws this exception error, and I'm passing in data, creating a data object with an error message, and I'm also passing in the original question, and I'm rendering the details page again with the data passed in, but instead of if there isn't an error message, it doesn't display this, but if there is an error message, I'm displaying the error message. Else, it increases that selected choice by 1, and it's saving it to the database. And then it's executing this HTTP response redirect, which essentially goes back to the results page, or with this reverse method, and I'm passing in the question ID as an argument. So it's actually passing in that ID into the results.url. That's displaying the results for that.
Tom, did you have to import that reverse method to use it inside of the views file there?
Yes.
Okay, so it's like a native method of Django. It's not like the Python like reverse. Okay.
Correct.
Tom, what's the advantage of using HTTP redirect instead of just rendering a new page?
Let's see, render results. So you can say request comma polls / results.html, and then passing in the question. So it'd be like question, because you need to see question ID. Because once you vote, you want to go view the results.html. Let's just see what happens. I don't know if there actually is an advantage to it.
I see. Yeah, it still works, looks like.
Yeah, it still works. I think it's to prevent you from going back and like voting again. Yeah, it just gives us the ability to, to use like the URL that we came from, I guess. So it doesn't have to hard code. Yeah, I think it still just uses the same URL that we came from, like the first portion of it.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I don't know if of any bugs that you'd encounter from that.
Tom, on line 29 with the try except, and then there's like key error, and then it says choice does not exist. What exactly is that? Is that like a naming convention or something, or like what? I'm kind of confused. I kind of understand key error, but I don't as much understand that whole choice does not exist thing.
Choice does not exist. Choice does not exist. It's just another choice. Where did it go? Yeah, it's just like another type of key error that it's like, hey, it's like built into Django. Just like a tells.
It had it on the website, Tom. It was, I think, like
Oh.
the second. And
This one?
yeah. Object does not exist is right under app registry not ready.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just an exception method that's built in the Django.
Okay, so that's more for you so that it gives you the right information about what the error was exactly, like if you were debugging.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.